So just imagine, total hypothetical.
Okay.
You're a Giants fan, right?
Yeah, man.
And just imagine you're a Giants fan coming into this season, and you're thinking to yourself, we were a playoff team a year ago. We won a playoff game, and we did it on the road. We've got Daniel Jones playing franchise quarterback level football. Saquon Barkley's back. We feel like this is the year. We added Darren Waller. We feel like we're ready to make that step. All right. Everyone says, no. There's always a team that's good the year prior, and then they struggle the next year. We're not going to be that team, and we're going to open up the season, and we're going to do it against the hated Dallas Cowboys. And we don't care that it's pouring rain at that stadium in New Jersey called MetLife. We don't care about any of that stuff. We're going to make a statement week one on national TV.
Oh, they made a statement.
And then you go out and you get stomped out.
Jeez.
It's so funny to me. It's so funny.
You get stomped out, don't you? Well, go ahead and jump.
Okay. Have you ever been a part of a week one that looked like that on that? And we'll get to the Cowboys. The Cowboys defense was fantastic. But have you ever been a part of a week one loss like that in your football career that you can
recall? I recall being on the other side of a mollywhopping, but I've never been on this. I don't recall. Now, that doesn't mean that it didn't happen. I don't recall a lot of my time in Washington. So it's possible that I could have gotten, mollywhopped. It's possible. I just don't recall.
How do you recover? Like that was bad enough.
It's week one, and it's bad enough. It was such a shellacking that you could almost write it off and write it up to it's the first game of the year, and all we can do is go up from here, and that's that. Maybe that's the frame of mind here is that it didn't go the way they would like for it to go. Anything that could have gone wrong seemingly went wrong. Dak Prescott wasn't even a major factor in them winning the game. I mean, it wasn't like he was like this world-beating quarterback that came out there and was destroying them. As advertised, Micah Parsons has gotten his defensive MVP candidacy off to an amazing start. They did what they needed to do in other areas of the game. The first turnover being the field goal. I mean, it looked like it was going to be a game. Like, okay, New York comes out. They came out playing power football. They ran the ball. Saquon was effective, and then they disrupted their flow with a penalty. After the penalty, it just seemed like they never recovered from the inability to finish that drive. It just went off the rails from that field goal that was blocked and returned. It's like, oh my gosh,
totally demoralized.
I mean, that was like, okay, we gave you our opening best shot. And that turned out to be a field goal block in a return for a touchdown. Like, that's like, okay, like it was a little demoralizing, but let's try to recover. Let's move forward. And then boom, you hit Saquon in the mouth. Saquon coughs it up. They pick it up or they catch it, go for a touchdown. It was like, I don't know. It was like if I'm a New York Giants fan or a New York Giants player or a New York Giants coach, I'm sitting there like, is this the Twilight Zone? There's got to be some type of harsh, cruel joke that's taking place for us to have everything seemingly possible that could go bad.
Yeah, it's like you're watching them drive down, and to your point, you thought it was going to be a game because they're moving the ball, they're being somewhat effective. They line up for that field goal, it gets blocked, it gets returned, and then the Cowboys missed the extra points. You're thinking, okay, well, at least not all the momentum's in their direction.
Right.
And the next thing you know, the first quarter's winding down, and it's a pick six. And it's like, wait a second, so we're down 16-0. All right, but we're going to rally back. And they just never figured it out. And Dak Prescott didn't need to do anything. Like, he had 140 yards passing.
It was pedestrian.
It was like he just.
But you know what? They didn't sack him. You know, he did not turn the ball over. So that's a good thing. It's just weird, man. He didn't have to do much at all.
No.
And listen, Q's off today, I know, and I'm sure he would probably reiterate the fact that he said that the defense would carry him. Wouldn't matter. Defense would carry this Cowboys team, and seemingly, that's the start of it.
But this is
defense. They carried them.
It just the thought of some guy thinking, you know what, weather or no weather, we're risking it all. He just rolls up to MetLife in a Jeff Hostetler poncho, and he thinks this is our year, and they just get sawed off the way they do. I think is hilarious. But yeah, the defense is fantastic, and the fact that took place on national TV to open up the year, and you saw them play the way they did. That's a good spot momentum-wise for that defensive player of the year to go to Stick City. That's what I feel like. I feel like they're in a good spot now. And we've talked a lot about Dak Prescott. Can he get it done? What can they do? Zeke's gone. It's a brand new era. They've got, they're paying offensive linemen. They're getting people locked up to long-term deals. But, yeah, that defense is tremendous. Dan Quinn's done a phenomenal job. And I just feel like that's the side of the ball that – a lot of people haven't focused on. They've just focused on, can this team win with Dak Prescott? Man, if they get that, you can win with anybody almost.
You know what's crazy? Osa Odighizuwe had a game that was better than Micah Parsons. Micah definitely set fire to showing that he should be in the conversation early right now for Defensive Player of the Year, but Odighizuwe had a game better. He had one more sack than Micah. He had one more tackle than Micah in the game. But what I will say is, man, he's a disruptive. Like, again, sometimes I'll make points and we could get into different types of discussion points and debates about, if I'm inaccurate or if I'm accurate. But the one thing about it is that this is one of those moments where I can say, okay, we could look back on this game and be like, statistically, you wouldn't have said that Micah Parsons had all that great of a day. He had one sack, he had 2 tackles, 1 assist. That's not a crazy statistical line. But looking at it in the moment, he was so disruptive in the game, and it doesn't show in the statistics. But this is one of those like prime examples of, God dang, bro. Like I ended I was on my honeymoon vacation, and we were supposed to stay in Turks and Caicos another week. I told my wife, my new bride, we are out of here. We're going home. We're cutting it short. We're going to get back. And it was because there was a mosquito. I think it was one mosquito. There had to have been a ton of them, but it didn't matter. It was this one mosquito that I felt like was attacking me the entire time, followed me around the whole entire beach.
Hey, buddy, over here.
And I don't know what it was, but the reason why I thought it was one mosquito in particular is because the way it sounded when it got to my ear. And it sounded the same. It was like it was just more violent than any of the other mosquitoes that I had interaction with. Like in my entire life, this was, just one nuisance of a mosquito. The point of that story is that Micah Parsons was like that very, very aggressive mosquito that was always in your ear, and you heard and I'm into the honeymoon early, going home. We're out of here. And it kind of felt like that was what happened with the New York Giants. They had a mosquito that wouldn't leave them alone.
But it's true. Like I heard that about Julius Peppers as well too. That Julius Peppers, if you look at his numbers were great, obviously, but it was all the plays that he made for other people just because you couldn't block him at times.
And you could say, and to that point, one of Digazui's sacks came because every man, woman, and child that was available
all over
was blocking Micah. So, yeah, I mean, that's a good point.
Yeah, no. So it's that just an impressive performance defensively, special teams. Dak, just did what he had to do. But, man, oh, man, that was –
just don't lose the game.
No, yeah, and everything's fine.